good afternoon or whatever time it is for you guys there, but thanks for checking in again. We have a set of steps here that need to get carpeted, and we had just finished laying this carpet, got this finished up, so now it's onto the steps, but this has stair metal on it with the vinyl, but it's got those, every one of those, they're not nails, there's an actual screw that's in every one of those pieces of metal. And then on the back of the step, it also has, I call it tub metal. I'm not really sure what the actual name for it is, but I know when I started as a helper, the installer that I used to put those metals like that, this vinyl up against tubs, so I just called it tub metal. But we are actually, I know you guys are gonna hear me out here, but or please hear me out here, but we are actually just gonna leave the stair metal on and that tub metal on. That vinyl, I don't know how old that thing is, but I know it's thick, I know it's heavy, it's probably got asbestos, you know, that dirty word, and by the time I start trying to rip these up, it's gonna rip this vinyl all up, and then to cut that metal out of there, I'm gonna have to cut the vinyl to get that out of there. And I got enough experience to know that the amount of time that I will spend tearing that out and prepping it is not worth it, because you will not be able to tell the difference by look or by feel once we get done here. So we're gonna give you a little step-by-step on how we do this. Okay, so first thing you need to do is we need to measure the steps for the length of our tack strips that we're gonna put on there. We're gonna do the waterfall method here, so we're gonna need a tack strip on our step and a tack strip on our riser. Usually what I do is about every other step, I'll just grab a measurement, because the steps themselves might be off a little bit, but the tack strip, you don't want your tack strip fitting tight against the wall anyways, and that is because that step's gonna move up and down. If that tack strip is in there real tight, every time that step moves and it's pinched up against this paneling, it might make that little squeak noise, kind of like, I call it like a turkey call, like hunters, you're probably used to using something like that, but that little screechy noise. So what I'm gonna do is just grab a couple measurements here. So I'm gonna call that 40 and a half, still at 40 and a half, 40 and a half will work. So that 40 and a half is gonna be our magic number, 40 and a half. So what I'll do is I'll come down here. What I like to do is have a bunch of tack strip already laid out. I'm using just a 1-inch tack strip with a 1-inch ring shank nail. So the step was 40 and a half. I'm gonna cut 40 and a quarter. That gives me about 1/8 of an inch or so on each side to mess around with. So I'll just mark. So here, Chris, this will be kind of an easy one to show them here. So you can see 40 and a half comes out to that nail right there. So I'm just gonna come back like this and boom. Now there's no, the simple way to do this, instead of taking your tape measure and measuring out 20 some pieces of tack strip, is either you can take this as kind of the piece that, you know, that's what I wanna go off of. I put my next piece right up to it, and I can just visually see where I need to make my cut. Another thing you can do is, because they do have the nails pretty close, not all the time, but you know, you can see there it's a little spaced out. Sometimes the nails are kind of close to where they normally, you know, they're in a row on each one, so I could just come to this piece here and I could be like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna whack off or cut off that much, and you can see piece is still roughly about the same. Actually, I'm gonna take a little bit more off, but that's no big deal. So, I'm just gonna go ahead here and keep cutting these, and I'll check in with you here shortly when we start nailing them on. Got all of our tack strip cut here, and now we're just gonna start the process of tacking our steps. So again, you know, we got that, we do have that metal in there. We got to kind of take that in consideration just a little bit, but I'm not overly worried about it, and I'm going to show you why here eventually. But what I like to do, you know, I figure a finger length a tight finger length is usually what I want for my perimeter, or 3/8. I usually figure about, just roughly a 1/2 inch to 5/8. And this, I do this all by visually just looking at it. I kind of know what my carpet is. I know how it's got to get, creased down in there, and I know how difficult or undifficult, I guess, that might be, depending on the carpet. So we got our piece in there. We got it kind of where I want it. So for the step, we're just going to put this in like this. And then now for my riser, I think there's a billion ways to do this. I know there's a guy that I know that he likes to put his hammer in there. I think that's a little too much. I try to do about the same thing. About a 5/8, 1/2 inch 5/8 is gonna be about perfect. And I'm gonna nail that on quick. Chris, if we come in and just kind of shoot what we got. So you see that metal's still in there. But when that carpet goes in there, you got to kind of visualize it's going to come off these tack strips. You're still going to get that nice crease in there. And that's what you want. You want that nice 90-degree bend. You want it to look good. Again, the reason I didn't want to take this all out is because it would actually, it's probably hard to see, but it's a fairly thick piece of linoleum, vinyl, whatever this was called back whenever it was put in a long time ago. And you would really, by tearing that out, you're really just gonna make a heck of a mess on that step. It's gonna be so bad that it'll frustrate you to no end. And also you gotta look at, do I have 3-4 hours that I wanna spend putting these steps on, which I don't. So again, come up here to this one. 1/2 inch, 5/8, and I kind of just split the difference between my tack strip. A little space there does not hurt anything. And any of you guys that do this for a living, you know that it's kind of hit and miss with these risers sometimes. These are pretty good. Sometimes you get them chintzy ones. We've had it where we've had to go get our underlayment stapler and the air compressor and shoot these in because this thing's bouncing so bad and it's just not installed very good. So go ahead and put this piece in. I just kind of like to look at it and straighten. Tack strip, especially 1-inch tack strip, is going to have a little bit of a wave in it. I suppose if you wanted to, you could really spend a lot of time there and make that thing perfect. We got a nice piece of carpet going on it. You're not going to notice that so much. Before I let you go here on this part, on these tack strip, you can see where I always cut on that 1 inch. That nail's not there. So all these, we're going to want to go back. Usually what I like to do is just come back with ring shanks. Once I get these all on here, handful of ring shanks, and we'll nail those on. So we'll check in with you, excuse me, when we put the carpet cushion on. All right, guys, now we're off to the fun part of putting cushion on the steps. And we're going to be using the Mohawk all-pet cushion. A couple different ways you can do this. You can cut the steps individually, or what I like to do is, my width, we're cutting 41 1/4. So what I'm going to do is cut the length of my cushion 41 1/4, and then just turn it sideways on the step, start on the top, and just work my way down, cutting off what I need for the step. So I'll show you how to do that here shortly. Measure out. Look at that, I guessed perfect on that one right away. 41 1/4, 41 1/4.
Make sure to double measure.
Yeah. So normally what I would do is I'd cut 3 of these, but for the sake of the video, so I don't bore you guys. So here's my 41 1/4. So that is the width of my steps. What you can do is, let's say from your tack strip on the step down to the tack strip on the riser, let's just use the 12 inches to make it simple. What you could do then, if you wanted to pre-cut them before you went up there, is you could measure out on your cushion. This is how I was actually taught as a helper. You could just go 12, 24, and 36, and so on, and mark the other side. And then all you do is just straight edge it across there, and you have each step cut individually. But hopefully most of you watching are installers, and you realize, hey, you know, whatever I can do to speed it up. This is what I like to do because it does. I feel like I can speed it up a little bit. So we'll take our piece, and I always like to start from the top to the bottom, but probably for the sake of the video again, Chris, why don't you go to the top? I'll just leave maybe the top step, and you can just kind of, probably gonna be easier for you to make the video from the top. Oh, that was a good call.
All right. I'll even sit on the platform. You can go right at the top step.
Top step.
So I have to come back up and do one.
Well, I'm gonna come down to this. Those are the ones that are just. Did I cut that? I bet I cut it. I bet it's 40 1/4. We're gonna have to make a renew video. I cut 41 1/4.
And one of
I'm
them?
not even gonna make a new video. We're just gonna show you that real stuff, real problems really happen. So I'm gonna go cut a whole inch off of this. That whole measure twice, cut once. Not when you're a floor cover install.
Once they take the inch off the side that has a little cut inside.
I'm going right here because I'm already right here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that saying that I use every day. If that is the worst thing that happens to us today, man, are we lucky. All right, let's go try this again. Looks a little better, huh? All right. We got our cushion lined up. I'll fit it right up next to that tack strip on the step. Now sometimes I take and I tack or put some staples in there, but I'm not going. The step's not big enough, and we won't need to. So what I can do is just I apply a little pressure here, pull that cushion over. I'm just stapling it into my riser, and I can just run my knife blade along that bottom tack strip. I like to get my fuzzies. I'll put those on the steps, and we'll come back and get those before we throw carpet up here. Again, we'll start on the side. Down to the next step. Just take my knife and cut along that tack strip on the riser. So we'll get these steps here finished up shortly, and be back with you guys to show you how we install carpet on the steps. So I've got my piece here that we're going to use for the steps. I just usually flip the whole thing upside down, and we'll get it cut up. So 40 1/2 was our wall-to-wall measurement, so that's what I'm going to cut. So yeah, just come over your piece of carpet here. I'm going to straight edge. Yeah, Chris. Yeah. Just gonna make this a nice straight edge here. And I don't measure off anything. I just kind of eyeball it, so I want to make this nice and straight. Come back over here. We'll measure a 40.5 from over there to here, and we'll make that our cut. Kind of embarrassed, guys, that I cut that pad wrong, but that's okay. It's better to be long than short, I guess. So 40.5, 40.5. One. So now I got this cut. Carpet, and most of you watching this are going to know that carpet has a nap to it. I always lay the carpet on the steps so I look into the nap. The darkest, it appears the darkest when you look into the steps, not down into the steps, down onto the steps, excuse me. I like that look better. Also, cleaning. If you're cleaning your steps, if you wanted to broom them or anything like that, it's going to be easier to move debris forward, off, and away from the steps. So this right here is going to be the bottom of the steps. So what I do is, you can see that that cut right there is not straight. I'll just take a square and square this up. It's not always necessary to do this. I'll show you why here in just a little bit. If you install steps, and then if you install your bottom with a stapler, which is fine. This is kind of important. You want that nice square edge on the bottom. I do mine just a little bit different, and two reasons. Or one is, I think it's just because I don't want to haul a stapler up and down steps. It's just another tool I gotta have, and something else to worry about on there and trip over. And then the main reason is I think when I don't have to, as a carpet installer, professional carpet installer, I don't have to use a stapler. I think it's just that much better off. I think everything just looks better, and that's what I got hired for. So we'll take our piece over. We'll get this on the steps quick. You always want to be kind of careful. I know most of you guys, you probably had a instance where you got, a freshly painted hallway or stairway, and you're trying to unroll this piece of carpet onto this, up into the steps, and it's just, an absolute nightmare. It's all been there. What I'm gonna do is just kind of lay it in there, roughly, nothing permanent at this point. So I'm gonna come here, and you can, if you're gonna run a stapler, you could just start just like this and let her go. You'd come in and just finish that off on the bottom like that. And it's actually sticking pretty good. I might just do that. Yeah, it is sticking really good. So I'm just we're gonna try it. If it don't work, guys, guess what? I'll pull it off and we'll redo it here. Undercut that piece of wood there, and that's the exact reason why I did that. So again, all I'm doing is I'm pressing that backing into that tack strip along in that riser. And again, you can shoot out the stapler. Me, I'm not going to. So there's more than one way to do this. And I know every video that I make, there's more than one way to do this, and there is. I know some guys, they'll come in and just lean on this and either shoot some staples in there, or they lean on it and they can lean on it and they take their stair tool and hammer, knock it in there. Call me crazy, but I do kick my steps on still. Guess I just still got good knees and a good lower back, so it doesn't bother me too much. Big thing is though, you make sure that kicker is tight on that carpet. You want to apply pressure downward, and the reason is if you don't, and that thing is just floating on the steps, and you go to kick it, you're gonna rake that carpet and you're gonna tear that all up. Have to put a new piece in. So here we go, Chris. Ooh, just about lost my balance. I'm gonna come down here again. Let's look at this. You know, so we're still tight there. We're still on the tack strip. That's kind of what you got to be careful of. Kicking without staples is sometimes, if you got a lot of force, you may pull that right out of there. But we did it. So now what we're doing is we're using our stair tool. I like to use a rubber mallet. Again, if you wanted to use a hammer, there's no reason you can't. For one, you heard that. That sounds horrible. I use a little bit heavier rubber mallet. That just puts a nice crease in there for me. Zoom in there, Chris. So you see how this looks? That nice crease along here. That's what you want. That's the look you're going for. You're not looking for a rounded up cope, you know, just goofness. This is what that professional look's gonna be. So again, I just set these into that tack strip there. And you know, I used to, like I said, I used to take a stapler and hit that. I truly don't think that's wrong, because I've seen a lot of good installers, they do that, and their installation looks fine. I'm on these steps now, I just don't have a stapler to trip over, so that's just a personal preference. So I'll kick one more on here, and then okay, I get a nice stuck on. I don't know if you guys saw that, but just me hitting over here, for whatever reason, that carpet, you see that, Chris, how loose that is now? Mm-hmm. Look at how tight that is still. You know, so what I'm gonna do is come back here, again, with my kicker. Just be careful, hold that tight, get that set back up there. I don't know why that came loose, but it did. Put a nice crease in it. Twice across is just fine. So now, here's the finished step. Come in here, Chris. I don't know how well you can show this to you. I'll take the camera from you, actually. So, you're going to have the nap now. It's laying down this way. So anything that's on this carpet is easily going to be able to pull and come this way. I'm going to zoom out. Look at how nice and clean, and just, that just has a nice finished look. So we'll finish up the steps here and do a little overview. All right, guys, we are finishing up. We had to move a table back in, hang some closet doors, and then look at that pup. I have not moved a fish tank for a long time, and that is right up there with trying to move a piano around. But we got some good news. This is one good way to know you got a good power stretch, is no wrinkles, folks. We used sliders to push that back in, but I'm kind of afraid I almost killed Chris. But anyways, back to the steps here. We are finished, and I just wanted to give you kind of a quick look at them. How nice those look, excuse me. And I did want to show you one thing on the top step. I did go bust the stapler out. We're gonna come back and redo this entryway for them. We're still waiting for the vinyl to come in, but I did staple underneath there, and I call it a turn and tack, but I just rolled the carpet over for now so it could stay like that. We didn't have any metal in the van, and the piece that we did take off that top was absolutely trashed, so Again, you can kind of just see how nice that's creased in there. It looks good. You know, that's what you want your steps to look like. And I think, you know, you installers that are watching, it's one thing to kind of keep in mind is steps are pretty lucrative. I think, you know, for you guys, especially if you're going out and bidding your own work, this is where you upcharge, or you can upsell, excuse me. You know, we around here at my shop, I pay $100 for a set of steps like this, plus yardage on top of that. So that's just you're starting off at. You know, if you wanted a wrapped nose, a Hollywood step, that's going to be a little bit more. If you've got some upholster work, you know, let's say it's spindles, you know, that's going to be a little bit more. There's a lot of different ways to do these steps too. This is kind of our basic, you know, we have a package thing with in-stock carpet, installation, everything's packaged into a square foot price. And another upsell you could have would be like if you did, like I said, if you were going to do upholster work, or if you were going to show the step on this. One thing I wanted to mention earlier in the video, but cutting those tack strips, you know, I had those little pieces left. Sometimes I do run those on the edges. These steps were, what were they, 40 and a half, 40 and a quarter, something like that. They're just, I don't see it being necessary to run tack strip up the riser on the step. You know, some guys do. Hey, that's fine. You know, there's more than one way to do anything. And these, like I said, these steps still look great. They're going to look great for many, many years. So again, thanks for watching my videos. If you guys got any questions about steps or floor covering in general, please just feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll get that answered for you as soon as I can.